available statistics indicate that all Africa is a youthful population. I mean, here in Uganda, Uganda is the youngest population in the entire Africa, if not the whole globe. And by 2050, it's been estimated that Africa is going to be the driver of human capital across the globe. Now we are talking about ethical issues, we are talking about skills, we are talking about that. Are you concerned about the future for Africa from that standpoint? And what must we do? Businesses start and overnight they collapse. And if you go into it critically, and I'm sure from your experience you know, it's not because of the financing that people have been hammering all the time.
Correct.
What are the issues? And if we are going to provide labor for the entire world, from your standpoint, what are the critical things that need to be addressed? Earlier you mentioned technical skills and all of that. What other issues do you foresee Africa needs to do to make us indeed the supplier of labor for the world by 2050?
You know, the moment you've crossed from being a young person still at college and you are now into the world of adults, a human being should cease trying to talk about their past or whatever they did in the past. They should now be saying, what value am I going to give?
So can you repeat that statement?
I hope I will pick the same word.
Yes, I mean,
because these words are just coming out.
You see, I'm asking you to explain that because
yes,
you have people who have finished university.
yes,
They've stayed home for more than 3-4 years without a job.
yes,
And all they are doing is blaming the government,
yes,
blaming their parents.
yes,
If my parents had given me money to study abroad, I would have been better than where I am. If my government has done A, B, C, D, I would have been better. Now you are telling us that once we finish university and we go into adulthood, we must forget about our past.
yes.
Why must we?
Because the person you are going to meet and has got a resource to spend is not going to spend because you got a degree or because you belong to a certain family or you were in a certain club. They are simply saying, I am looking for good eggs because next week I've got visitors coming from Accra and I want very good eggs. And do you know how they walk to the place where eggs are being sold? They first concentrate on looking on the different types of eggs. And then after that, they now say, who is selling these eggs? In other words, value for money is what the world is looking for. The moment you begin to see the principle of saying that you should give much more than what you receive in payment to the world and add value to the world, at that point you begin to open a door that is too wide and you even wonder why for so long you have not seen that door. In other words, even a young man who is still looking for a job, you must be asking, why did I do accounting? Does accounting require me to first do an interview with a company with a label somewhere at the gate saying, this is MTN? Or does accounting mean that there is somebody with a cottage farm in your neighborhood, probably place a grocery where you have been buying some grocery items, and their books are not quite smart, and you can start from there. The moment that one person says, do you know what you have just told me? You have made me discover that there are some people who have taken my items and they have taken so long to pay me back. Young man, thank you for saving me the thing. I have been always running to borrow from a bank, forgetting that I should have been collecting my own money. I'm going to pay you for this. That grocery owner has another friend, another relative with a similar need, and it's going to give a word of mouth to that person. The next assignment you are going to get, you don't need to do much promotion. You don't need to bargain so much about the price for your services because a happy customer has done that for you. There is no better promoter or marketer than a happy customer when you have got solutions. So in real Africa should begin to see that the world of adults is about value addition and being able to compete with any other person who could be delivering a similar solution in your space.
So in terms of preparing us for 2050, where our youthfulness and therefore being the supplier of labor to the rest of the world, I want you to look at it from the standpoint of skills development as well. You talked about attitude, but if we are going to be suppliers of labor to the rest of the world, from where you sit, as a banker, as an expert in enterprise development, what must this, our young population, do?
There are just a few things that a young population must begin to appreciate. And these things are really what you call, they demystify and write off many of the things we use to justify why we are not employed. Right. The moment your work ethics are so good that any assignment we give you, you do it way beyond what was expected. You've started a journey for many more assignments to come your way. The moment you are told that deliver this thing within the next 7 hours and you deliver it in 4 hours, not by mistake, but by deliberate planning and preparation. And the solution reflects what would have come after 7 hours. Timekeeping. Africa is completely a bad abuser of that resource.
Why?
If
because
we just fix that resource.
But you, Charles, you and I know we have our own time. We call it African time.
That's the way the problem arises. A customer in Africa is the very first one to say, why have you delayed to bring my food? Mm-hmm. He's in Africa, where they say this African time. He will never want to hear that. Try and go to a restaurant and then they tell you, you have made your order, and then you are saying, I need my food within 30 minutes. As it is coming to 5 to 30 minutes, end of that period, somebody is already saying, where is this waiter? He promised my food. This is in Africa. If there's something that distinguishes a person from another one very, very quickly, one of them is keeping time. The other one is keeping promises. You promised to pay me on 31st of July. As you make that promise, I also now promise my other customers that, you know what, you come on the 1st of August, I will be paying off these debts. And then you go and tell the headmaster at the school that, please, Mr. Headmaster, in the first week of August, I'm bringing the school fees. The fellow who made a promise for 31st of July does not even call you back and say, unfortunately, this promise cannot work out, and I want you to now consider another date. It is you to call the fellow and say, by the way, today is the 2nd. You told me 31st. I've given you 1st and 2nd. You've not called me. If we can fix timekeeping, fix this promise issue, we are so careless in throwing promises.
Charles, I mean, I want you to look at this, from at the macro level, because these issues are very critical.
Correct.
And if indeed Africa is going to be the future of the world, yes, and enterprise development is critical,
yes,
how dangerous are these elements that you have highlighted? Time, keeping time and keeping our word.
Yes.
How dangerous it is. Can that undermine us as a continent?
In the world of competition and where technology is everywhere, those two are just the barest minimum. You cross that line, you have crossed that's just the commodity level. It's a given. When anything is at the commodity level, it's a given. Don't even blink your eye about it. To say that it was raining, that's why I could not prepare enough fruits and put them on a truck and deliver to you. Nobody wants to hear. Whatever happened, the rain, whatever burials you had, and you wanted to attend a burial for 2 weeks like you normally do, that's up to you. You promised me to deliver this thing on a particular date. Promises grow in multiples. You make one promise, it creates several other promises elsewhere. If you crack that one thing, nobody will give you that contract again, no matter how good your price is. And the beauty, the challenge today is competition is ferocious. Whatever you did so well, we can all try and copy that. But these two things here might make you to be outstanding, and you can outclass your peers. And then the good thing about these two is you don't even need to go to a bank to borrow a loan to be a good timekeeper. You don't need to go to a bank or to a reverend and just say, pray for me today that I might be able to make better promises. These are issues that you must begin to take care of. We do not want explanations in business days.